Welcome to Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook Live every Monday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I am your host, Dan Z. Thrilled to be here with each and every one of you talking some Star Wars. Hello, Joe. Joe, good to have you here. Let's say hello to everybody here. Carter is here with us, of course. Hello, Carter. Good to have you. Tyler Pompa is here. Hello, Tyler. Hello, Blake. Welcome, sir. Hello, Mary. Happy Monday to you. And Mita, happy CWK Day to you. Again, I am your host, Dan Z. And hey, let's talk some Star Wars, shall we? We're going to talk about something really fun tonight, of course, because it's Star Wars and CWK. And I want to thank everybody for your continual support, both here and on the replay on YouTube and Instagram, and of course, on the audio feed, which I post as soon as this is over on the Coffee with Kenobi podcast feed, wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Google, Spreaker, Stitcher, everywhere, YouTube, it's all there for you. And it's awesome, right? And more people are talking about and commenting on the show on social media and sending me messages because they're having so much fun listening to the show. And it's because of all of you and your feedback, because you are legitimately a part of everything that goes on here. Let's see who else is here joining us today. We've got LJ back on the show. Hello, LJ. Joe, don't worry about missing a few. We're always happy to save a spot for you. Daniel, good to have you back on the show. Awesome. I love it. All right. So today we're going to talk about, let me get the fancy little logo up here. Today we're going to talk about your top 5 favorite Yoda moments. Yoda, of course, is an extremely popular character in Star Wars. I'd say he's either 1 or 1A for me as far as favorite characters go. Hey, Ross is here too. Hello, Ross. Good to have you back on the program. I love it. Let's tell you what. Let's go ahead and take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
All right, get rid of that circle, Joe. I'm glad you're able to tune in. It makes work better. All right. I'm glad. Hey, I don't want to affect your productivity. I want to help. Well, actually, a good distraction like Coffee with Kenobi or anything you like listening to can help actually enhance productivity. So we support this. LJ says he is pulling a Ross and multitasking, so Ross will be providing my top 5 this week. Well, I am glad you two have so much faith in each other. And I think it will pay off. You're both pretty on the money with this kind of stuff. All right, so what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week? Honestly, again, the High Republic stuff, 2 weeks in a row, Light of the Jedi is in New York Times #1 bestseller. Phenomenal. Speaking of that, of course, Light of the Jedi, I'm hoping that everybody has gotten a chance to listen to Coffee with Kenobi this week because we had Charles Soule on. I was very excited about that. I'm glad it all worked out. He is quite a talented author, obviously, and he tells us a lot about Light of the Jedi, the characters, and creating this new, in addition to the Star Wars universe. Great fun. He's not on a ton of podcasts, so be sure to listen to Coffee with Kenobi this week, show number 384, to hear from Charles Soule himself. I sat down with him a couple weeks ago. We had a tremendous time doing so. All right. So, Alex, thanks, Alex. Good to have you here. Alex says that was a great episode. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Daniel, you are going to love it. Daniel says, I can't wait to hear that. You're going to love it, man. It's going to be there waiting for you. All right, so honestly, this week, besides that, I wanted to show you a couple of things that we've had on the website that I've addressed here, but I haven't addressed it in a ton of detail. So, until February 8th, you have a chance to pre-order a Coffee with Kenobi CWK Alliance beanie. The CWK Alliance is, of course, our Patreon exclusive podcast, which is CWK Pour Over, and we've got a special message board there, and we've got exclusive video and a lot of great stuff. And I really, really like what Corey did with the CWK Alliance logo. Of course, he always does a tremendous job. He's such a talented graphic designer, best in the business, in my opinion. Tyler says, he saw a bunch of Black Series are going to get re-releases this year. He said it should be officially announced on Pulse on Friday. You know what? That is awesome, Tyler. Yeah, this Friday will be, Hasbro's going to do another live stream where they're going to share the new Star Wars products. We're excited for that. Brian says high expectations for this episode I have. Well, good. You should have high expectations, and I think you're really going to like hearing Charles Soule talk all about this great book. All right, here we go. So LJ says the CWK Alliance is the cool kids. Well, I respect that. I think there's some really great people in the CWK Alliance. We'd certainly love to have you join us there. But if you're not able to, you can certainly join us in the CWK Cafe, which is our Facebook group. Let me put the fancy little logo up for that. Another one courtesy of Corey Club. Hey Josh, good to have you. No, you don't need a late pass, buddy. Happy to have you here. Ross is I'm assuming telling LJ to focus. That's probably what it is. All right, merchandise. So there's this, but speaking of merchandise, and speaking of Light of the Jedi. On January 30th, it is our last day to enter to win a copy of Light of the Jedi. Disney and Coffee with Kenobi are working together to give away free, of course it's free, to give away 5 separate copies of Light of the Jedi. So if you don't have this book yet, you're excited to check it out, you've got a great opportunity to win a copy from Coffee with Kenobi and Disney. Very exciting. Again, be sure to go to our website. You'll see a banner at the front. It's all over our social media. You can win a copy of Light of the Jedi from Charles Soule. Again, 2 weeks in a row, the New York Times best-selling fiction. I mean, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff. Hey, everybody. I don't know what happened, but our internet shut off. I hope everybody finds us again. I jump back in here again, we're talking about our top 5 favorite Yoda moments. So I'm hoping, and I'm going to certainly wait for everybody to come back, but there was a brief disconnection, but hopefully we are back in business here. Okay. Jump back in if you're back on the show. Again, I'm sorry what happened. Our internet cut out over here, but we've got our top 5 Yoda moments that we're about to break down. Wow, that was fun. I will say, in Central Illinois, where we are recording the show tonight, there's some pretty nasty weather outside. There's a lot of ice and there's a lot of snow that's coming our way, so pretty crazy. Dave is back. Dave, good to have you, buddy. We lost our service. I'm hoping everybody comes back on the show because, yeah, we got a lot of Star Wars to talk about. And Dave is also, Dave, please put your Twitter handle in the stream because Dave has an incredible Star Wars office / basement, right? A whole thing full of Star Wars that looks really phenomenal. Tyler wants to know if Grogu messed up the wrong cables again. Yep. The blue, the red, what happened here? Exactly. But fortunately, we're back in business, and hopefully this stream will stay live because I've got a lot of things I want to share with you. So let's go ahead and talk about our top 5 favorite Yoda moments. Yep, it's like Hoth. Exactly, Alex. You're in the same predicament up north. Minta empathize as well with Grogu and his wackiness. Quick question, by the way, and I've been meaning to ask this. When we're doing the show live, I know there's a replay on YouTube and Instagram, of course. There we go. Dave says, the real D. Franz is my Twitter and Instagram. So be sure to follow Dave. He's got a lot of great Star Wars collectibles and collections. Even my tongue is frozen, I guess. He's got a lot of great pictures of his Star Wars collection. And he photographs it beautifully too. So be sure to follow Dave. All right. So when the show's going live, again, I know you see the replays on Instagram and, of course, on our Facebook page and on YouTube. But is it broadcasting live in the CWK Cafe? I know it doesn't save a file over there, but I feel like it should be broadcasting live in the CWK Cafe. So if you are watching us right now in the CWK Cafe, please weigh in and let me know. If not, that's okay. I just need to know if somebody could click over there and check the CWK Cafe while still watching us here. Open up a new tab maybe and let me know because it's hard for me to do it while I'm doing the show. All right. Top 5 favorite Yoda moments. Here we go. Number 5 for me is the Yoda Clone Wars arc. The Yoda Clone Wars arc is really profound. It's season 5. It's the Lost Missions, the Lost Arc. It's the arc that was on Netflix after the show wasn't on anymore. And it's It's just really good. It features dark Yoda, like Yoda kind of fighting a dark mirror version of himself. Him learning more about the Force. He talks with Qui-Gon Jinn, who actually is played by Liam Neeson in the animation, and is super cool. So Tyler says he gets a notification for it. That's good, Tyler. Do you actually see it in the CWK Cafe as well? Hopefully you do. It looks like people are starting to come back, so I'm glad. Again, I'm sorry for losing everybody. I don't know why my internet messed up, but we're back in business, and we're just going to do what we can. We're going to push on. All right, so again, my number 5 is the Yoda Clone Wars arc. It's great to see that side of Yoda, see him learning more about the Force, again, interacting with Liam Neeson / Qui-Gon Jinn. There's some really, really great stuff there. The only thing I don't like in that is there's sort of a foreshadowing. That's sort of a foreshadowing. There is a foreshadowing to his fight with Palpatine. I could have done without that, but I can talk about that another time. Also, number 5 for Alex. And so Mason gave me his top 5, but we don't have numbers there, so I'm just going to go with what I think. Actually, I'll put down what he put. He's got so many good ones here, so I'll just say his first one that he wrote down was Sheev Palpatine versus Yoda, and I am so proud of Mason for knowing that Palpatine's first name is Sheev. I mean, seriously, how awesome is that? And he's been reading the Star Wars book at school, so kudos, Mason. Thanks, buddy, for spreading the word, and good job on your Star Wars knowledge. Number 5 for Mary is the Yoda Clone Wars arc. Oh, look at that. How about that? Tyler's number 5, Yoda versus Dooku. I remember hearing rumors about Yoda wielding a lightsaber before the movie came out. When it happened in the theater, my 11-year-old self went crazy. Yes, I'm going to talk about that pretty soon because it's definitely on my list somewhere, but it's a great, great moment. Minta's number 5, Yoda giving Luke one more lesson in The Last Jedi, that failure is the greatest teacher. I love that one. Joshua has Duel with Dooku. So cool. I didn't know where I learned this, but it was actually choreographed by Ahmed Best, and he did awesome. Might have been your interview with him. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Ahmed Best was on the show, and he was great. Jamie's number 5. Jamie, welcome back to the show. Jamie says, going with Fun Yoda as Burl Ives in the holiday special. How funny. What a great call. Yoda was crazy fast versus Dooku, says Dave. Yeah, he certainly was. He certainly was. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to number 4. Number 4 of our top 5 favorite Yoda moments. Number 4 for me is Order 66. And I mean specifically when it happens to Yoda on Kashyyyk and he does that backflip. There is a very dramatic decapitation, which you don't really see all the way. And then Yoda kind of crouches down like Spider-Man, and it's very, very intense. And you just think to yourself, yeah, that Yoda who fought Count Dooku, he's still here. And the clones are going to have all they can handle if they're going to try to face off against Yoda. So that was a very, very powerful moment. Very good. Okay, number 4 for Minta is the Yoda Clone Wars arc. Number 4 for Mary is Yoda versus Dooku. Okay, excellent. So far, we've got pretty much all action stuff with Yoda. Interesting. Brian, welcome, Brian. Brian says Yoda backflipping and decapitating 2 clone troopers with 1 lightsaber swing. Exactly my number 4 as well, Brian. Alex is number 4 when Yoda fights the Emperor in Episode 3. Excellent. Yeah, very, very powerful. And that is also up there for Mason. But speaking of, Mason's number 4 is the same as Alex's as well. No, I'm sorry, not as Alex's. Brian's with the backflip and decapitation. Number 4 for Ross, which I'm guessing is LJ2. The Lost Missions Yoda arc of the Clone Wars. Qui-Gon reaching out through the Force, being introduced to Dagobah, and encountering the 5 priestesses from the Force planet. Yes, that's exactly right. I loved writing about that for the Star Wars book. Some great stuff there. Okay. Josh says, number 4, Duel with Sidious. I think that's the closest we've ever seen to Yoda getting mad. It's so powerful you are. Why leave? Yeah, I love that part too. There's some great dialogue there. Tyler, number 4, his first appearance. I love how he tests Luke's patience by being as annoying as possible. Plus, his duel with R2-D2 is about as dramatic as it gets. That's great. Number 5 for Daniel, when Yoda confronts Palpatine / Sidious in Ascended Chambers and waves with his hand like, bring it. That's right. I think we've got just about everybody back now. So I really appreciate you guys and your patience, guys and gals, and joining us again. Thank you so much. All right. Dave's number 4, Yoda fights R2 with his cane. Yes, Joe, I am back. Thank goodness. If I ever disconnect again, I'm just going to hit live again. I'm going to be right back on Coffee with Kenobi's Facebook page. So never fear. Okay, so I think I got everybody's number 4. If you have another number 4, this is a chance for you to jump in and share it with us. Let's see. I'm assuming everybody can see us. My timer is not ticking. Let me know if you can see us and hear everything. It looks like you can, but it's so hard to tell with how the internet's acting right now. Okay. Number 3 for me of the top 5 favorite Yoda moments is the Dooku Attack of the Clones duel. So this is again when Yoda faces off against Dooku. It's the first time in history we had seen Yoda fight with a lightsaber, and it is spectacular. You know it's spectacular, and it looks like everybody's here because we're jumping in, so thank goodness. Number 4 for Daniel when he fights R2 for the flashlight. Very good. Minta's number 3. Yoda versus Dooku. I remember seeing those scenes when the movie came out in 2002. My jaw dropped to the floor to speed and fighting skills. Yep, I was starting to say, Minta, that's thank you for mentioning the speed and the fighting skills. When he came out, apparently some people in the theater, because I saw the first showing, not like a special screening, that was before Coffee with Kenobi was even a thing, probably before podcasts were a thing, which sounds crazy to say. And he came out, and everyone started to clap, and I just thought, what is going on? And then when he takes a lightsaber with telekinesis and it floats into his hand, he does the flips and jumps around and does that battle cry. I clapped and cheered. There's only a couple times in my life when I've actually cheered in a movie theater. And this is one of them. The other time was when Hulk smashes Loki in the first Avengers. That was great stuff. So that was so fun, so electric. I couldn't believe what I had seen, and they pulled it off so beautifully. And George Lucas famously said, look, if this doesn't work, we've lost everybody. We've lost the movie. And not only did it work, it's one of the most important and exciting examples of using CGI to enhance a character and a story. So bravo, George and team at ILM. You don't need me to tell you that. It was just tremendous stuff. Okay, let's see what other people have. 3 for Alex, when Yoda makes an appearance in The Last Jedi. Very powerful moment. Indeed. And one of the few times people have pointed out a non-fighting section in the wisdom of Yoda, which is a very important part of him. 3 for Mary, Luke and Yoda in The Last Jedi. Love it. Tyler's number 3, Yoda versus Sidious, a very intense but amazing duel. The use of Duel of the Fates is the icing on the cake. Yeah, it's sort of like how John Williams uses the Force music. It's to indicate that something seismic is happening in the galaxy. Yoda's number 3. Brian, I guess you're Yoda. Brian's number 3 is Yoda versus Dooku. Number 3 for Ross is Yoda's relationships with the younglings across numerous mediums. Very good. A non-combat one, finally. Mary says puny human. Yeah, that's from Avengers, of course. Yep. Puny god. There you go. There you go. Josh was number 3, Force Ghost Training. Interesting additions to the lore and to Yoda's character. Very interesting and powerful to see his grief about Ahsoka and his desperation to save Anakin and end the war. Yes, that's a good one too. Number 3 for Daniel, on the Force planet and his teachings from the priestess. He saw his radical self, creepy and powerful. Yes, kind of remind me of Lord of the Rings. I know a lot of people have said that. Number 3 for Mason, and he wrote this. A lot of you have mentioned this scene, but Mason described it as, eat snack, I must. Love it, right? When he's rooting around in Luke's food and says, how do you get so big eating food of this kind? Mason has that as his number 3. Perfect. Again, Jamie's number 3 is Yoda versus Dooku. Joe says for 3, when Yoda talks to Ezra and Rebels. I like that part as well. That's a really, really good one. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink. Now, last time I hit mute, we disconnected. And I don't think it's because I hit mute. It might have been coincidental, but fingers crossed, you don't want to hear me drink water in the microphone. And we're not disconnected. Bravo. Yay us. Yay us. Okay. Number 2 of top 5 favorite Yoda moments. Number 2 hasn't come up yet, which I'm assuming is because it's about to start coming up in everybody's list, is do or do not, there is no try. One of the most important and sometimes misinterpreted lines in all of Star Wars. Yoda says to Luke, do or do not, there is no try. What he means is, he's not saying don't try, he's saying when Luke's talking, all right, I'll give it a try. Yoda doesn't believe that Luke is going to give his best. And that becomes an escape and a way to enable yourself to, or give yourself permission to fail. And Yoda's not interested in Luke not giving his all, not giving his best. So when Luke says, I'll try, he doesn't really mean he's going to try. Yoda takes that opportunity to point out, and just do it. Not in a Nike way, but more like a, don't try and not give your best. Do your best. Just do it. And we know how that goes. Number 2 for Mason is Dooku versus Yoda. Again, which we've talked about, which is my number 3, a spectacular sequence. All right, let's see. Number 2 for Minta. Yoda versus Sidious. Even though he lost to the Dark Lord, he was able to hold his own against him. I agree. And I often wonder how that would have turned out if Palpatine didn't cheat. Although, I mean, of course he cheats. He's a Sith Lord, but just one-on-one, straight-on fight, hard to say. Tyler, Yoda's last lesson. His appearance in The Last Jedi made an already great movie even better. I loved how it touched on his playfulness, but he also got a very important message behind everything. Indeed. Indeed. Josh says the Force is with us. Indeed, it is. So far, so good. And again, if you're able to watch us in the CWK right now live, please let me know in the comments so I know that all the connections are working. That would be so helpful. Thank you so much. Brian's number 2, Yoda versus Palpatine, Revenge of the Sith. Certainly. Daniel's number 2, Duel with Dooku and Attack of the Clones. Number 2 for Mary, the raising of the X-Wing. That is why Luke fails. It is why. He doesn't even try and doesn't believe in himself. That is failure. Alex, number 2, when Yoda speaks to Ahsoka in Rebels. Ooh, that's a good one. I forgot about that, Alex. Yoda's number 2. What am I doing? Ross and Brian or Yoda? Ross is number 2. Yoda preparing Luke for the cave. It was a scary moment as a kid. It was. It really was. Hey, Robert, how's it going, man? Robert says that whole there is no try is definitely my number 1. Might be my favorite overall movie scene. You know what? You can't go wrong with that, buddy. That is a great sequence, for sure. Okay. Eric, no apology necessary, buddy. We saved you a seat. It saved you some coffee. Josh, number 2. Ashto, I think this is when Yoda truly understands the Jedi. He was always wise, but I don't think he ever fully got it until that point. Very wonderful conversation between him and Luke in a truly amazing movie. Second best in my opinion. I agree. He also adds, honestly, I'm having a bit of a crisis because I think it might be better than Empire Strikes Back. No, hey, you know what? That's okay. And plus, it may be constantly in motion, right? Where sometimes you feel one way, sometimes you feel another. The list may be malleable, and that's totally okay. It's just fun. It's kind of fun to have those conversations, I think. All right, time for the number 1 favorite Yoda moment. Number 1 for me, The Last Jedi and failure. Yoda's message to Luke about failure, the greatest teacher that is. I don't know the exact line off the top of my head. And it's exquisite. It's as a parent, as an educator. Yes, I've written about it for StarWars.com, and I wrote about Do or Do Not. There is no try. Last summer when I did my teaching with Star Wars weekly column, that was really fun. But The Last Jedi and failure is just so critical because it's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up. I feel like we as a society have kind of forgotten that sometimes. And I know that students struggle with failure. Everybody does. But it's okay to failure. It's okay to fall down because you have to pick yourself back up and keep trying. And not trying in a pretend Luke's frustrated Empire Strikes Back way, but really give your all. So when you fail, you take that as an opportunity to really, really learn. And Luke finally figures that out. It's great. Absolutely great stuff. All right. Let's see what everybody else has. Number 1 for Minta. Do or Do Not. There is no try. Definitely classic. I expect to see that one a lot. Tyler, lifting the X-Wing, his whole speech to Luke is probably the most important in the franchise. Wow. Luminous beings are we not this crude matter. I know a lot of people with Lucasfilm really like that line. Him lifting the X-Wing with John Williams' music playing is one of my favorite in the film. It really is beautiful. It really is. Brian, also the same as Tyler. Yoda raising Luke's X-Wing from the Dagobah Swamp. Classic. It really is. Look at this. 3 in a row. Ross is lifting Luke's X-Wing from the swamp and being amazed in the theater as a kid. How cool that everybody's got it. Empires for Alex. Number 1, Do or Do Not. There is no try. It seems like we're getting a lot of Empire Strikes Back stuff in My Last Jedi. Daniel, also, there's no try moment. Timeless words I'll always remember. And when I think of Yoda, that's what comes to mind, certainly. Joshua says Dagobah, and then he says, well, Mary, our first encounter with Yoda stringing Luke along in his fight with R2 over the lamp, but after seeing all the movies and Clone Wars, Now it makes you wonder what R2 was thinking about seeing Yoda again. Yeah, because R2's mind wasn't erased. I find it incredibly hard to believe that R2 wouldn't recognize Yoda. Yoda may not have recognized R2. That's possible because there are a lot of astromechs, but he was pretty savvy. So obviously we're doing a little bit of retcon because this was made well before anything with the prequels. But there's got to be a way to make narrative sense of it, and I'm going to marinate on that a little bit. I think I need to watch that sequence again. Yoda, for one, number one for Mason, and I don't think anyone has mentioned this yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anyone has. He says Yoda right before facing Sheev, and what Mason means by that is Yoda is walking into Palpatine's chambers. Those two royal guards look down at him, and Yoda kind of goes like that, and they go and run into each other. Boom, fall down. One of the greatest, coolest, quick moments in Star Wars or any movie. That is Mason's number one. And I'm a little surprised no one has brought up, and maybe you forgot about that. It's a quick sequence. It's not necessarily a big character builder, but it shows how powerful Yoda is with the Force. So, bravo, everybody. Anybody have any last minute ones? If not, I'm going to go ahead and show you next week's top 5 topic. It's going to be good. And I'm suddenly starting to think that we already had it, but I don't know. Maybe it's just from Clone Wars, but top 5 Ahsoka Tano moments. How about that, everybody? Ross says, great call, Mason. Mary agrees. That's a good one, Mason. Dave says, I always get chills when Yoda says there was another. Yes. Oh, I agree. So next week is top 5 Ahsoka Tano moments. I know a lot of you are big Ahsoka Tano fans. Minta, I know, is. I certainly am. Josh says the Yoda scene in The Last Jedi is a masterpiece. Totally. Brian says, hey, I forgot about that one, Mason. That was great. I had a feeling Minta was fired up. Yes, so excited. Josh also very fired up, for sure. It's going to be fun. Now, this is going to be really hard because there's so many hours of Ahsoka Tano stuff. See, look at that. Tyler, Minta, everybody knows. Tyler says Minta's going to probably really giddy right now, and certainly Mason says, why? Yeah, it's going to be hard. I know the Ahsoka, there's probably more Ahsoka stuff than almost any character in Star Wars because of all of our hours in Clone Wars and Rebels, that book. Yeah, Ahsoka is such a great character. Such a great character. All right. So see, we were right. See, the CWK family, we know each other pretty well. So good. So much fun. All right, so again, next week is your top 5 favorite Ahsoka Tano moments. You've got a week to get it ready. Oh, Ross is going to wear her universe jacket next week. Good idea. Alex is fired up. It's going to be a great top 5. Dave says might be a top 10. You know what? It might be. There's so many good ones. Josh is thinking about Ahsoka as a top 5 this morning, but I figured you already done it by now. Great option. No, we haven't, surprisingly. We've done a lot of topics, but still so many we haven't done. Daniel says, she's great. Nice. Good. Well, I'm so glad everybody is fired up. It's going to be a really fun one. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, so let me know. This is the Ask Dan Z portion of the program. While you're thinking of a question, I want to be sure to plug a couple of things. Again, I talked about this week we had Charles Soule on talking about Light of the Jedi. It's so much fun to chat with him. But speaking of fun, if you're a member of the CWK Alliance this week, we talked about the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, a spectacular Marvel series, the first Marvel series on Disney+. It's so much fun. Corey, Tom, and I talked all about it. And this, actually, last Friday, Deanna, my lovely wife, she watched the first 3 episodes with us. The 3rd episode wasn't out when we recorded this review, so we only had the first 2 on there. But we'll get to the rest of them, I'm sure. But it's fun. It's fun to watch the family kind of think about what is going on. Speaking of what is going on, if you want to join the CWK Alliance or find out more about CWK Pour-Over, then what you need to do is go to our Patreon page, www.coffeewithkenobi.com/CWK Alliance, and you can become a member of our Patreon page. You support the show. 10% of your monthly contributions go directly to the St. Jude Children's Hospital, and it's for a good cause, and it's just fun. Like we have a lot of fun on that show. We laugh, we joke. It's a great time. It really, really is. So be sure to become a member of the CWK Alliance, and we'll be happy to share CWK Pour Over with you as our exclusive weekly podcast not heard anywhere else, hosted by myself, Tom Gross, and Corey Clubb. You can go to www.coffeewithkenobi.com/support to help support the show and get that exclusive weekly podcast. There's a video version and an audio version as well. Okay. Let's see. We got some questions here. Let me get back to my feed and see the questions that some of you have. Alex says, if you had an opportunity to write another Star Wars book, what would you like to write? For example, a story-driven book or something else? You know what? That's a good question. Carter had asked me that a couple of days ago in class. I'd write just about anything Star Wars. Of course, I like the analysis, but I'm open to anything that Lucasfilm and Disney want me to do. So that's a good question. I think fiction would be fun to tackle. It would be really fun to tackle. I mean, who wouldn't want to try that? But it's hard to say. Difficult to see the future is, Alex. I will say that. I will say, what about you? What would you like to write about? I'd be interested to see what you want to do. Tyler says, WandaVision is so good. I'm very happy to have Marvel products back in my life. I agree. The start of Phase 4 is really tremendous. He says, Minta says, not Star Wars related, but what are your thoughts on the third episode of WandaVision? Well, Minta, we're going to talk about that a lot in CWK Pour Over very soon. But I loved it. The ending was very tense and exciting and mysterious, but also not very mysterious. I think they're showing their cards, but maybe they aren't. You know what I mean? I kind of like that we think we know where it's going, but because they're so good at telling these stories and the execution of these stories, they may just kind of pull the rug out from under us at the very end. Mason loves WandaVision too. I know, we have fun watching it. Dave says, Dan, what's the next adult novel after Light of the Jedi, and when does it drop? So the next adult novel is by Kevin Scott, and I believe that comes out in March. In February, it's Claudia Gray's book Into the Dark, and that's a young adult novel, but it's certainly not watered down. Like I feel like sometimes people think young adult, it means it's like watered down fiction, but it's really not. And many times young adult books are better, and they tackle the same kind of stuff that adult books do, but in a much different way. So I'm pretty sure it's in March. It's from Kevin Scott. I'll have to look it up. No problem, buddy. Autocorrect. I totally understand. Daniel just ordered the DK Books visual guide to Rebels Season 1 and Revenge of the Sith. Are they any good? I hope so. They are good. They're very good. DK does a great job. Yes, I'm biased because I'm in the DK family, but they do a great job. Break it all down in I don't think Pablo had written either of those, but he's written quite a few of them, especially the more recent ones, and they're awesome. You're going to learn a lot about Star Wars from them. There's no doubt about that. Okay. Very good. Any other questions for me as we wrap up tonight's show? I want to plug a couple. Oh, here we go. Lost Stars and Queen Shadow, both young adult and amazing novels, among others, for sure. Tyler says, what EU character would you want to see brought back into canon? I think Xanatos has a lot of potential. Interesting. I was going to say Jackson, the bunny, but he's already back thanks to Kevin Scott. Speaking of Kevin. EU characters, though. You can't really say Thrawn, can you? Because he's been back for a long time. I don't really got to think about that. That's a great question. I think if they could do Prince Sizor in a non-creepy way, that might be interesting because the Phalanx species are very powerful. Oh, here we go. Bucks or Chiefs? Well, you're a little early on that, but that is a very good question. Honestly, I'm going to pull for Tom Brady. I like Patrick Mahomes a lot. I think he's awesome. But they won last year. I'm not sad if they win again, but hard not to be in awe of Tom Brady and the greatness that he is. Josh has a long one. My family is going to Batuu for the first time this June. I'm so excited, especially for Rise of Resistance. So we came down to gladly trade building a lightsaber. What trips do you have on this amazing ride? App for the queue, blah. Oh my gosh, how does getting a smuggler's run? Josh, honestly, this is not a shameless plug. It's a fact. If you go through Coffee with Kenobi's podcast feed, I have a number of shows. I went to the premiere. I was lucky to go to the premiere of Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. I got some tips for you on all that stuff. I went to the opening of Rise of Resistance 2. I've got a bunch of tips for that as well. There are exclusive shows for both of those topics in this Coffee with Kenobi podcast feed. Wherever you listen to podcasts, be sure to listen to them, and you, I think they'll answer a lot of your questions. But if not, you can always email me, danz@coffeewithkenobi.com. Okay, well, thanks again, everybody. Again, we talked about the Star Wars book. If you're interested, and it was my first book for Disney and Lucasfilm. It's written by myself, Pablo Hidalgo, and Cole Horton. An invaluable roadmap to a galaxy far, far away. It's on Amazon, Books A Million, Target, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, anywhere books are sold. I think that's going to do it for me. I hope everybody has a great week. And on Thursday, we're going to have Amy Rochelle, the writer of Star Wars I Love You, I Know, on the show. That's going to be fun too. So if you have anything you want me to ask, just let me know. Have a great week and weekend, everybody. I will see you next time. This is the podcast you're looking for. See you real soon. See you real soon, everybody. Bye-bye.